Welcome to PTC Cast episode 17. My name is Alex Martin. Today, Chris and I go into picking your friends that want the best for you. You should be able to share good news with a friend. You should be able to tell them that you achieved a new goal, and that's something that's very important for not only your mental health, but your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, whatever you want to call it, man. I mean, having good friends, we are social creatures, and that is a foundation to a healthy life, is healthy relationships. So this is PTC Cast episode 17. I hope you all enjoy it. I'm Alex. You can follow us at Progress Through Change. You can also go to progressthroughchange.com to get your free 4 Easy Habits for Fat Loss guide. Don't know why you wouldn't do it. It takes about 15 seconds to get an awesome PDF to really help you break down the starting steps to your body transformation. This is Chris Saldana.
You can follow me at Cholito Saldana, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Enjoy the show.
So, making friends with people who want the best for you. Was there a point in time that you can think of where maybe you didn't have, the best friends that you can think of? Like, friends that definitely weren't looking for the best for you?
I'm lucky enough to have had a pretty solid group of friends since I was a kid. So I would say for the most part, yes. There's definitely been some people, in history that you have to cut out, whether you just decide that, your values are different, they don't want the best for you, they're trying to get something out of you, different things like that. But luckily that's not something I've had to worry much about. What about you?
I wonder if, I'd say yes. And, now that I say yes, there's one person that I think about that's still, maybe not a close friend, but like I'd still, I guess, consider him a friend.
Sure.
Although I'm struggling with like making the decision if he's not my friend or if he is my friend after all.
Okay.
The reason why I say this is because like we spent a lot of time in college together, and we were really close in college. And I consider him like one of my better friends in college, but there's this one, like, I have a couple of insecurities.
Sure. And
I opened up to him with a specific insecurity. And, the night that we talked about it, it was cool. Whatever, it was just, I wanted to get it off my chest, and I did. And whatever, that was the end of it. Well, I noticed that there's 2 times in the future that whenever I was fucking with him and, joking around with, a group of other people, he would hint at the insecurity. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and this was like something that I trusted him with. And I still remember there was this one time we were playing Apex, and we were just fucking around with each other, just going back and forth. And I said something to him, just joking. And he goes, or he said something like pretty much along the lines of, oh yeah, well, what about that one thing you were telling me about?
Yeah.
And
Jeez,
yeah.
man.
And so I told him, I was like, what? I was like, say it. Like that one thing we were talking about, what we were talking about. So go ahead and say it. And he was like, and I was like, say it, motherfucker. And, he ended up not saying it. But
I would not consider that someone who wants the best for you.
Yeah, man. But it's tough making those decisions just because, I think about it, like there was only 2 or 3 times where he did that, but that's like very, meaningful to me,
One discussion that I have with my clients a lot is your friends are the people that you can share your victories with. So, if you can go to someone and say, hey, I, lost 5 pounds, or I achieved this new goal, or I got a promotion, or, that's a friend, someone you can take that to, and someone who's going to, is going to positively reinforce that, isn't going to, try to take you down a notch, or isn't going to try to bring you down. They're going to support you through that. You know what I mean? If anything, they'll get more excited than you will.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like this individual that you're speaking on, I mean,
maybe they would feel jealous or
obviously insecure enough to like use that as a weapon against you, or use that thing that you told them.
And that's what it was, dude.
So that's kind of the flip of that.
Yeah, that was cold as shit hearing him, say that. And dude, it's been like maybe like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Since that happened. And, when I think of him, like, that's still what I think about.
Yeah.
Because it was literally like this moment of, hey, like, you broke my trust.
Yeah.
I've only trusted very few people with, this insecurity, and you tried to use it against me for a petty reason.
Yeah, man. So as a personal trainer, like, I get into a lot of like the insights of a lot of social circles, because for a lot of people, like, it's their time to vent too, as far as what's going on in their life personally. But you'd be surprised at how many individuals function like that. People throw things back in someone's face, or people aren't willing to support their victories, or different things like that. And it's interesting, because we have to ask ourselves the question, like, why do we keep entertaining people like that, and why do we keep people like that in our life when we know that they aren't serving any purpose, they aren't building us up, they aren't aiding us in our journey, and why are you going to do that for them if they're not going to do it for you?
I wonder if it's some kind of like, well, at least in my case, I wonder if it's something to do with acceptance, like, or not, maybe not acceptance, but either acceptance or rejection. Because I know, like, I struggle a lot with rejection, and with that, like, I struggle a lot with acceptance, because obviously you want to be accepted and not rejected. Yeah, so, like, the times where I think about, if he's my friend or not, I'll tell myself, hey, he's not my friend, but then quickly I'll, like, turn that decision around, just so I don't have to, maybe unfollow him, or, do this or do that.
And maybe it's just
and then it's like, oh, well, what will he think?
You don't want that quick uncomfort of cutting him out of your life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I don't know if I'm being, like, over dramatic, which I guess when I talk about it, I don't feel like I'm being over dramatic.
No, I don't think so. Like, if it was a true, if it was really something that's that personal, and that is obviously, something that you opened up to him about, like, I don't think that's someone who wants the best for you.
Yeah.
And so I think it's integral to pick the people that want the best for you to be around and to spend your time around, because ultimately, man, you are the people you spend your time with. And so if they don't want the best for you, you don't want the best for you.
So I got a question when it comes to that. Like, you are the people who you spend, your time around. If you have, let's say you're elevating in life, right? Like, your relationships, or all the areas where
you're trying to move forward. You're working hard.
Yeah, you're moving forward. Yeah,
sure.
So you're building yourself. What happens if you have, a group of friends who maybe not holding you back, but they're kind of, stuck in their ways, and they're not working to improve their life? Like, is this something that you actively try to cut them out of, or is this something that, you just let be, or, like, how would that work?
I mean, I guess it depends on...
And if they're, close to you, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally, I guess it depends on severity and how often you see them, and how often you're willing to see them, If it's a group of friends that you see, once a year, and it's a moderately normal experience, but they're maybe just not pushing you forward, like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. But, if it's someone you see once every 2 weeks, and it's, you feel bogged down and negative after every interaction with them, like, I would say the urgency there is a little bit greater,
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be pretty case specific, but, like,
because at that point they're actually having an influence, or they're more likely having an influence.
You have to be able to monitor if they're having an influence or not, and if it's positive or negative.
Got you.
I mean, think about it, man. Like, you say the things your friends say, you consume the same content your friends say,
Yes.
So it's you share things with your friends share things with you. Like, you mold into each other. So it's pretty critical that you like your friends.
Mm-hmm. You know how I always text you, yes sir, or thank you sir, or all of that. I actually get that from Shannon, my stepdad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I used to never say sir, just because I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of weird. But now if I don't say it, it feels like it's kind of weird. So that, I don't know, that just, like, proves that, just from living with him and him saying it all the time. Now that's literally a part of
just
me.
Being around him.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. But quick side note, you know how I build websites, and I guess as of lately, I've been like really fascinated by the integrations that you can do with websites, and I wanted to create something like
what does
really
integrations
cool.
actually mean?
It can mean a lot of stuff, like maybe filling parts of a website up with dynamic data from a database, or like on your website, the membership, being able to have people sign up for memberships, and like the possibilities are almost or seemingly endless. And I just recently had, I guess, an opportunity to partner up with somebody who, he's freaking a genius dude, and really hard work ethic. But every time I'm with him, it's negative energy. It's all about him, and it's this and it's that. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that we could have, created something great with both of our skill sets. But, I had to make that decision, like, hey, you gotta
be ruthless with your time, man. It's a very valuable resource.
Well, not even time, but like your emotions and your well-being. If you're like, I'm sure that I know that if we were to have gone through with this, it could have become something great.
Sure.
But just the thought of being around him, maybe every day on a phone call or weekly in person, like. That would just destroy my well-being, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, if you could notice before whatever this project is even got off the ground, or before, you know what I mean? Like before you were actually talking to this person every day, or, having meetings, or, spending 10 hours a week together, 20 hours a week together, whatever it is. Like, but yeah, man, I mean, that's a pretty good call. Like, because eventually you become that person, you think like that person. So it's pretty critical, I think.
Yeah, people have an insane influence on you, especially like you're saying, the amount of time that you spend with them.
Right.
I feel like I don't spend a lot of time with you, but when it comes to communication, I feel like I spend a good amount of time, being influenced by you.
I would say we communicate at least every day.
Yeah, man. And, I love that. You're someone that, I admire, and, the qualities that you have in your life right now, again, it's something that I admire. So when you have relationships like that, that's definitely something, that you should optimize instead of the opposite.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Like, I think, this kind of, I guess, relates a little bit more to personal training, but something a mentor said to me, it was like, the only thing people remember is how you make them feel. Like, they don't remember what you say, they don't remember what you did, they remember how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I think that's really integral, is it's like you remember how your friends make you feel. Like, if after you leave you feel good and fired up and like you had a great time, and you think, I want to see that person more, I want to interact with that person more, or do you think like, ooh, I checked that box, now I don't have to do it for another 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
man.
It's what's that immediate feeling after, that's going to be a pretty good gauge for whether that person needs to stay in the life or leave your life,
We're lizards, bro.
What do you mean?
It's a lizard brain.
Lizard brain.
Like again, when it comes to the person that I could partner up with, that would lead to probably like, money, glory, with the fact that, this would be my creation or our creation.
Yeah.
But, how he would make me feel.
Yeah.
It's just like, now.
Feel like you're selling your soul almost.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it would feel like.
Yeah.
This is so weird. But why do you think, or a lot of people will struggle with that, man. What do you think would help them, like, maybe create those boundaries and, see, like, hey, maybe this person isn't the best for me.
I think people are uncomfortable to take the step or experience the slight discomfort that comes with it. Because, you have, like, two scenarios. Like, maybe you need to say something to the person, like, hey, you have a tendency to be very negative in these scenarios, or you throw a lot of shade, or, in your scenario, like, bringing up the thing that's obviously a very personal thing to you, like, if you can address that with the person and see some sort of change, like, I feel like that would be a good option. But it's also like, I don't know, man. It's a tough decision to be made, I think.
Damn. So it's like communication, yeah?
I really think so, yeah. I think it's just the ability to to say that and communicate that with someone, and if you don't see any change, then you have to think, okay, I need to do some sort of change here. Otherwise, you're choosing who you spend your time with. You're choosing who you surround yourself with, and ultimately, like, however you feel after is a result of your own doing. You agreed to whatever it is, you know. And I guess there's always going to be case scenarios like, maybe a close family member that you're willing to deal with, or, someone you live with, like a roommate or some weird scenario like that. But, when you're talking about like the people that you choose to spend your time with, like
you're choosing.
That's and that's a valuable choice. Like, you need to make it correctly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, well, no, I'm just thinking because, before, or even right now, like maybe it's easy for me to blame them on, the things that I don't like about them.
Right.
But, in reality, maybe it is my fault because I'm not bringing it up.
Well, and if you're the one agreeing to go to lunch, knowing that you're not going to enjoy it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or knowing that you haven't addressed it yet, or if it's even worth addressing. But
yeah, so I'm probably just trying to avoid conflict.
I mean,
with some bullshit.
I don't know if it's avoiding conflict. I think it's taking the small discomfort, or like approaching the conflict while it's small, and you can maybe do something about it
until it gets big and nobody wants to confront
and then at that point it's like, okay, well then you have to, do you chop the whole leg off so the whole body doesn't get infected, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, you reap what you sow. Either spend your time with this person or don't.
Isn't it? Didn't Jordan Peterson talk about slaying the dragons before, or he talked about some kind of story where the son, like a child, said that there was a dragon in the house, and the mom and dad didn't believe him, even though it was right there.
Yeah.
Until the dragon, like, was as big as the house, and his tail was sticking out of the window, and all of that. And then finally they recognized, and then as soon as they recognized it or accepted that it was there, it shrunk back down.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's not acknowledging the
problem.
It's hiding things in the fog.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Like, we know what's there, and maybe we know the solutions on how to fix those problems or how to cut these relationships off.
We know this person makes us feel like this. We know that this person is not on the right path. We know this person is a detriment to our well-being, and yet we still continue to entertain it in hopes that they change, or some sort of excuse for them, or you know what I mean. And obviously it's always going to be something that's case specific, but ultimately, like, if you were deciding to spend your time with this person, you were deciding to take them with their bad qualities too.
That's silly. That's so silly.
What do you mean silly?
Like, the fact that we accept those things and we just almost like shrug our shoulders and just deal with it.
I think sometimes it can be a self-worth thing. It's like, this is the only friend I have, so I have to deal with the fact that, he throws things back in my face, or he, makes me feel this way.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for...
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not good enough to have a friend that wouldn't do that, so this is all I got, kind of thing. So I think some people fall victim to that kind of mindset.
Damn, man. I don't know, I'm just in thought.
It's important to pick friends that want the best for you. And I've seen through a lot of people's body transformations, a lot of other things change in their life too. They move to a different place, they get a new job, they, make other drastic changes as they start to figure out, who they are, what they want, what they're capable of, that they have control, they're driving the boat in their life, kind of thing. And, a lot of the times that's the kind of thing that happens is they start to realize, like, they don't enjoy the people they spend their time with, or they don't enjoy the current place in their life, but they've just, same conversation to be had, they hide it. They ignore it. They think it'll change. They make an excuse for it.
They just accept it as it is, instead of understanding that they have the power to change,
make some sort of change, make some sort of pivot, or
it almost is like just a realization, which is kind of silly, or maybe it's an acceptance that you do have the power.
Yeah.
Maybe not a realization, or a realization.
You don't have to be friends with that person. You don't have to date that person. You don't have to, especially if they, again, make you feel a way that you don't enjoy. you see yourself become that person, and if that's not what you want, I mean, that should scare you to running the other direction, man.
I wonder how those aha moments are created. Like if they just pop up.
I think for a lot of people, something like there has to be a straw to break the camel's back. Like most people, I think most people don't realize until it's too far gone, and then they're like, shit, I should have done that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, kind of thing.
Yeah. So just have those conversations or think about those things as soon as it pops up.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you have someone who you think is, your best friend or wants the best from you, and you go tell them you lost 25 pounds, and they're like, how much more are you going to lose? Like you should be able to share good news with this person. This person should want the best for you. This person should be a positive resource, not a negative resource.
So yeah, that's a good rule. Just ask yourself, hey, how would this person react if I brought good news to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
Absolutely. So this has been PTC Cast episode 17. Thank y'all for listening.